who was so inspired by her adventures in the big mountains that she decided to make adventure her life's work. She has climbed on 6 of the 7 continents and travels the world spinning tall tales that are all true. Her story is called Lost. Let's hear it from Emilie.
Thank you. I'm often asked that proverbial question, why do you climb? And when I'm talking about climbing, I'm talking about mountaineering. Multi-day, heavy pack, snow, glacier, the higher the altitude, the better. That's my kind of climbing. And I really struggle with that question. I don't feel comfortable answering it. It's so personal. So many different kinds of people from all walks of life and countries and ages and disciplines do this kind of climbing. And I can't answer it for them. I can hardly even answer for myself. There are a number of reasons that are the easy go-to reasons. Oh, there's amazing moving meditation in the middle of the night, the satisfaction of focusing on an objective, the discipline it gives me. There's no way in hell I'm getting up at 6 a.m. to look better in a bikini. But if I'm thinking about Denali, I will. Even just the camaraderie, the amazing camaraderie that I've never seen in any other community than that of mountaineering. Those are all great reasons, but they still just don't feel satisfactory. Why? What is the drive? What is the reward that I get from doing something that seems so remote and extreme? And I think part of it is because I'm kind of small. You wouldn't meet me and think, oh, this person is a hardcore mountaineer. And the fact that I'm actually good at it has a lot to do with it. I pretty much suck at anything physical. I have terrible hand-eye coordination. I'm literally one of those people that's taken golf lessons. I can't make contact, and they go, you know, golf's not meant for everybody. And it's demoralizing to go out and just keep trying to play, doing something that you just suck at. I was in volleyball in high school, and anytime I was either on the bench or I would pull my team down if I was out there on the court. I ran track for 1 year in junior high school, and I got the Spirit Award because every single 200-meter dash I brought in the rear from seconds behind, but I kept running. And then people will ask me, well, why don't you try triathlons or skiing at resorts, something else that's physical and adventurous and exciting? Well, I tried adventure racing. Adventure racing is kind of like triathlons, but out in the backcountry, so you're not biking and trail running. It just seemed a little more exciting than pounding pavement or riding on the roads. But again, it's demoralizing to come in last, or if I was lucky, second to last. I was beat one person. That was my just beat one. It's just not satisfying. But over time, I discovered that what I do have as a physical advantage is endurance. I can just hike for hours and hours and hours. I'm the Energizer Bunny. Now, the fact that I'm ridiculously slow is something I have to work around, but as long as I'm going my pace and I'm eating, I can just keep going. Mountaineering, while it requires some technical skills, how to travel on snow and glaciated terrain, it's basically humping a 50-pound pack up 5,000 feet of steep snow for hours and hours and hours. In fact, the marathoners and the triathletes often can't do it because they can't modulate to a pace that you can go for so long and just keep going and have energy left over. But it still doesn't answer the question. If I'm good at it, what validation do I get from this? Why do I need that reinforcement that small little old me is actually good at something like mountaineering? Well, without a psychologist to deconstruct my childhood and my adult psyche and try to break it down what motivation really is, I did get a little bit of an insight recently. So after 3 long, torturous years of being sidelined from mountaineering with a knee injury and a surgery that was very difficult to recover from, I finally moved to Bend, and I set my sights on the Cascade Mountains that are on our horizon. Now, living here for a year and a half, still recovering and trying to get back into shape, it's just like being teased every day, seeing those mountains on the horizon and knowing I haven't even set a foot on them. But I decided I'm going to try Mount Hood. Now, Mount Hood happens to be the most impressive and the highest mountain in Oregon, but it's only 11,200 feet. It's literally just a day hike. You leave from the parking lot and hike up. I mean, I've been to 23,000 feet on a Himalayan giant where there is no rescue. You have to be completely self-sufficient. So I'm like, that's a good one. That will be confidence inspiring. And I meet some fellows from the Cascade Mountaineers locally. And this one guy, Frank, is leading a trip up to the top of Mount Hood. So I give him a call. I want to screen people. Sometimes my experience actually will intimidate people. So I have to say, this is my experience, but really, let's reset the expectations. Yes, I do very well at altitude. Yes, I have good energy. Yes, my self-arrest skills are dialed. In fact, just a couple months ago, I led the self-arrest clinic for the Bay Area Mountain Rescue Unit. But no, I don't feel very fit, and I am really worried about my ability to keep up with the group. Frank was very supportive and encouraging and said, come with us. You'll be fine. It will be slow and steady. You're welcome on this trip. The Wednesday before we left, I went to one of their meetings and I met one of the other climbers. His name was Nathan, and he's 20. And the day before, he climbed North Sister. North Sister. The one that the old-timers in the Cascade Mountaineers were talking about with trepidation, maybe trying this season, and he'd just blown up it the day before. So I asked him, I was like, so Nathan, how do you feel about climbing with someone twice your age? And he retorted, well, how do you feel about climbing with someone half your age? So I chuckled and I thought, all right, at least he's got a good sense of humor. And he said he wasn't worried about the pacing. He just wanted to learn from people with experience. And experience is something I do have. Well, Friday night, we are carpooling, so Frank and I go and pick up the other guy. His name's Bridger. And Bridger is also probably not but a year or two over 20. It's like, oh, crap. A couple of 20-year-old young bucks, and I'm like worried about how I'm going to do and whether or not I can, I'm dipping my toe back in the water. I don't know about this. So I'm anxious the whole way up, and we're swapping stories and telling tall tales, as is usually the case. And we arrive, and the MO is to go to sleep around 9 p.m. in a car and wake up around midnight, and you climb mostly through the night. The snow is more firm, the weather is usually more stable. So the one thing I had forgotten, I hadn't planned to sleep in a sleeping bag. I mean, it's 3 hours of non-sleeping anyways, but I have this super beefy, warm, Denali-worthy down jacket that I would cozy up into. It's inevitable on every single trip you forget one thing.
Oh, no.
Yes, I forgot the down jacket. So I laid there in the back of Frank's surprise Subaru Outback and softly shivered for hours. And when you softly shiver, you don't sleep. And you're awake, and you're alone with your thoughts. And the hamster wheel started. I don't know if I can do this. What about that wind? The wind was slamming the Subaru and shaking it. What, I'm going to be cold. What about these young guys? There's no way in hell they're going to want to go my pace. I'm going to have to turn around. What if I get hurt? Then I won't be able to go. And just never stopped for 3 hours. And when we woke up at midnight, or they woke up at midnight, I said, I'm not going. And Frank was like, why? I'm too anxious. I don't think I can do it. I'm going to hold you guys back. He's like, that's the worst reason. You have to come with us. Like, no, I'm not going. I'm really, just my anxiety level is too high. I know I can't function with this kind of dread in my mind. So, with kind of a heavy heart, he sets off, and the other guys say goodbye, and that I'll be missed. And then I dive into Frank's sleeping bag. I had a few hours of delicious, warm sleep, but I knew inside that I'd let myself down. And when I woke up, I went to Timberline Lodge, and I had a not very well-deserved, extremely hearty breakfast. And all of the staff, they know what happens there. They see people with this kind of climbing gear on, and they kept asking, how did it go? Did you summit? I'm like, no, I didn't even try. And I went back to the car, and they were there. It was 9 a.m. They were already back, so I was convinced, oh, thank goodness I didn't go. Surely they had to turn around. There's no way they could be back that quickly. But yes, they had summited. And they said, the conditions were great, and you were missed. You should have come. And the whole way back, I fought back tears. And I tried to hide. You know, you're looking out the window. Nothing's happening here. But a couple of defiant tears came out and rolled down my face. Because I felt that I had held myself back for fear of the unknown and kept myself from knowing. I hadn't even tried. I had accomplished nothing. I had given up. And I thought, maybe I'm not a mountaineer anymore. But if I'm not a mountaineer, who am I? To what tribe do I belong? I don't know. And you might think that's bullshit. It shouldn't matter that much. You can judge all you want, but that's how it feels to me. And until I find my way back to the mountains again, I will still feel lost.